What's up, my dude? So I'm going to be talking about the early MXGP 3 gameplay that's been kind of going around YouTube, and there's been a couple of different videos out there that you can go find in about 1.25 seconds, and I know if I actually showed gameplay of it, YouTube would probably tie me up and call me Sally, so I first of all am apologizing to any of you dudes out there that I duped and made you think that this video was going to be the actual MXGP3 gameplay video. I just didn't really know any other way to title this video because that's exactly what I'm talking about. I tried to put talk in the title to somewhat differentiate it, but I know some people are still going to click on this video thinking it's MXGP3 gameplay, so I apologize for that. If that's what you're looking for, this is not the video. I'm just talking about the actual gameplay that I've seen and kind of my thoughts about it and stuff like that. So I just wanted to go ahead and get that out there. So I've watched about 4 or 5 of the different gameplays that have been going around out there. I've seen a little bit of the mud gameplay. I've seen some of the just normal dirt kind of gameplay and stuff. I've seen a little bit of the terrain deformation, the mud effects. I haven't really seen too much on actual two-stroke gameplay, so I'm not really sure how that's going to be, but let me just first of all go ahead and explain something to you turds out there that keep saying, "Hey Spencer, it's a work in progress. What the fuck you talking about, dude?" Okay, let me just spill a little bit of knowledge on you right quick, okay? When it says work in progress and the game is coming out in like 2 or 3 months, they are not going to add anything revolutionary to the game. I hate to burst your bubble or rain on your parade here, but you're not going to do anything crazy in 2 months. It's just not going to happen. They may add a little bit better bike sounds or, you know, little things like that, but you're not going to see a total revamp in physics or whatever. So pretty much what you're seeing in this gameplay is what you're going to be somewhat getting in the final product. I mean, that is about as close as you're going to get as far as the actual gameplay itself. Like little things, like I'm saying, maybe small little graphical changes or, you know, something just real small like that might be changed. Maybe, I don't know, just little skybox might be a little bit different, or some of the little placeholder things for like certain tracks and stuff like that might be a little bit different. You know, that's the kind of stuff you can change in 2 months. You're not going to have anything revolutionary. So I just thought I'd get that across to some people that still don't understand that for some bizarre as hell reason. But okay, so one of the first things that I actually watched was the rain mode. I thought it looked really good. That was something that we had all been kind of hearing about for a while, and it definitely looks, I mean, as far as like the actual graphical standpoint of it and the way the mud looks and everything like that, it is very solid. I'm not going to lie about that. I mean, the graphical, just the atmospheric effects and things where they'll have like fog, and then you'll have some tracks that have dust and stuff like that. I think that's something that really makes the game pop a little bit more than some other motocross games that just don't have any effects like that whatsoever. So rain mode looks good. It looks like the wet dirt does affect the bike somewhat. I don't know exactly how much. Obviously I can't tell because I've never really played the game, but there was one gameplay I seen where the dude was saying that, you know, you couldn't get on the gas too hard or it would spin out in the wet dirt, which it should be that way, but it kind of looks like the bike is a little bit underpowered in the mud, so we'll just have to kind of see on that. But the graphics overall look really, really good, man. They look very improved from MXGP2. I mean, it looks like a modern motocross game. It really does. So that's cool to see, you know, because a lot of these other motocross games, graphics-wise, I mean, they're definitely behind the 8 ball, and graphics are not everything. And trust me, I'm an MX Simulator player, so I'm a firm believer in that, but it is nice to see it at the same time. You know, I'm not going to sit here and act like these ballin' ass graphics aren't looking pretty cool, because they are. Like, they are definitely cool looking, and definitely something that you don't see in your motocross games just every day. So now the terrain deformation system, this is where it gets a little iffy for me. From the gameplay I've seen, it looks like it almost looks like you are just like digging down in the dirt, and you're just making like more dug down areas, more so than you are actually making like singular ruts that you can actually grip the bike into, if that makes any sense. Like it's just almost, I don't know even really how to explain that. You would just kind of have to know motocross games and kind of know how MXGP 2 was. The tracks look very similar in the sense of it's basically like no inside lines, and then, it's like perfectly smooth, and then you have that singular outside berm that you can kind of get into, kind of like a rut. That's what it's looking like again, which is unfortunate, because I really hope that some of the tracks have some pre-baked inside ruts, because the terrain deformation system, as of right now, it doesn't look like it's making solid ruts. It looks like it's almost making just like sand kind of, like sand ruts and berms that you just blow out every time you come around the track. So it's almost like you're just digging a trench more than you're making a rut, if that makes any sense. Now, this is all just from what I'm seeing. Okay, this is all just from the early gameplay I'm seeing. This is not, hey, I've played the game and this is what it is, so don't take my word in that sense. Just take it in, this is what I've seen so far, okay? So I just wanted to make that a big point as well. But, okay. So now, something else that I was noticing was the first-person camera. It does look a little bit better. Another thing we'll have to wait and see once we get in there. It looks a little less shaky. It's kind of like they've got a little less of that shaky cam going on. So looks a little better in that aspect. Maybe it won't have as much motion sickness to it, but now the dust and the mud roost seems like it really does affect your vision in the first-person camera. That was something I noticed, not so much in the third-person. It doesn't actually get up on the screen. That is something small that they could add. They say work in progress. They could add mud flicking up on the screen in third person. That's something pretty small they could do in 2 months. Or dust kind of getting up on the screen. That's the little stuff they could add, but physics and stuff like that, it's not going to happen. So that's something they could actually end up adding there. So it's in first person. I mean, it really affects your vision. If you have two bikes in front of you on a dusty track, you can't hardly see in front of you at all. So that's cool. I really like how they added that. But now the air physics, okay. This is something a lot of people were really upset in my last video when I was talking about the physics, and I guess I had it coming. But MXGP, the whole series, their physics have always been a little different. Their air physics, a lot of people argue that their ground physics are really, really good. I won't say they're like the best ever, but the turning in the corners and physics, stuff like that, is pretty good in these MXGP games. But the air physics have always been so floaty and so like stale on the bike. It's like your rider can't hardly move at all. And that's just kind of what it looks like. Not a whole lot of left to right motion. And that's something that I just think the MXGP series is going to be like. There's no telling if they'll ever, it's not a simulator. That's what I try to get across to people. Like, MXGP is just a simple arcade game. It's not Reflex. It's not MX Simulator. So if you're really expecting crazy physics, then it's just not the game for you. And that's all I was trying to get across in that first video, and some people took it completely the wrong way. And you can think whatever you want to think. I don't really give a shit, but I'm just telling people honesty, okay? I'm just giving you the real, and some people can't take that. So that's basically the moral to that story. But so the MXGP 3 physics, they still look a little stale. They still look a little floaty in the air. I would say the overall physics and the overall way the rider actually looks on the bike does seem a little bit improved, just like in an overall general sense. So now I didn't really see too many of the whips or anything like that, which the whips is not... A lot of people get that kind of twisted. They think, oh, you can't whip, so the physics suck. Well, even though that does play into it somewhat, the whips are not everything, but it just kind of, it's how much motion you have on the bike, I think, is in the air is what the most important thing is. You know, how stale does the bike feel, basically? And that's where it comes down to. The whips or something like that's kind of an explanation of how stale the bike actually feels, because if you can whip it all the way backwards, then the bike doesn't feel very stale. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of why a lot of people, I think, compare and they come out and just say, oh, the whip, you can't whip. So, but it's not just the whips. I mean, it explains a deeper physics problem if you can't whip very good. That in motocross games in particular, that's why a lot of people compare it to that. So I just thought I'd kind of explain that to you. But yeah, it'll be cool to see the game. I think that for me, it's just going to be a fun, chill play kind of game. And I know a lot of people were trying to bring up the argument of like, oh, you need to support these motocross games and stuff. Listen, dude, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you. Fool me 3 times, fuck the peace sign, load the chopper, let it rain on you, bro. Shit, I can't believe I remembered all that. I haven't heard that song in forever, but it's for real. Like, hey, man, trust me, I'm a firm believer in buying into all these motocross games because you got to support it because there's not very many of them out there. I believe it totally. But listen, dog, money doesn't grow off trees. And I'm not just going to sit here and be like, oh, and give everybody a free pass just because they're making motocross games. Like, I'm not going to do that shit. I'm going to push this genre forward and try to make these motocross companies continue to make better and better games. And if you never stand up and say, oh, whoa, what the fuck, this is not worth my money, then they're never gonna do that. You know, your wallet talks, money talks, okay? And if you don't buy something, they may think, whoa, 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 maybe we need to improve these physics, or hey, let's really try to make a better motocross game at that point. But if you just always laying over and saying, oh, man, no, it's a motocross game. You got to support them, dude. If you just keep saying that forever, they're never going to improve. And this is the 3rd game in this series, and I expect some big improvements at this point. And if you don't believe that way, that's your own opinion, but I'm going to believe that way. So hate all you want to, bro. Don't really give a shit, but it's me trying to improve this actual genre here. And the ignoramuses just don't realize that. But anyways, I appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.